Hello and welcome. It's lunchtime. I thought I'd take you all for a little walk because there's wind forecast. So it's been between minus 24 and minus 30, below minus 30 for a while now. I'll show you this. And I was wearing my iPod. I've taken it out, relevant to a couple of questions I've had. This is part of my logging trail, and look at the birch bent right over there. So normally I would have run in the trails with the snowmobile by now, and I'd be walking along a nice solid path. No, she won't stop. She's having none of it. And the tractor, her oil must be like treacle. She's not having any either. I'll tell you what, I can still hear my music. Anyway, so when I was cutting down here, I think it was under this tree, there's a young moose. I don't know, 3 or 4 years old now, I should imagine, maybe older. It's highly attracted to the sound of my chainsaw. And it means it can get the fresh tops. Not so bad now, because it's quite early on. But I'm starting to see a lot of tracks now. So it's not particularly afraid of me. It's not particularly afraid of me hitting the sharp end of my chainsaw either. So you'd think I'd see fresh tracks because somewhere Casper's down there. I changed hands, and the phone at some point is going to get so cold it's just going to shut off. So I'm going to put it back in to warm up when that happens. So you can get the Land Cruiser through here, and what this does is this runs along the bottom of the valley. The river's this way, maybe 20 metres, and this is a route through. You see the wind, there might have been a little gust. And we've lost all signs of tracks now. So, no, there's Casper. Haven't seen any big tracks yet. He's ahead of me. You can probably smell something. Look at that. Oh, there he is. He'll smell and hear moose, ellie, elk, whatever you want to call it, long before I do. Anyway, so there's wind forecast. With a slight warming, what that's going to do is going to shed all the trees of the snow. And I don't know if you can tell, but it's still snowing. It's been falling out of the sky at such a gentle pace now for days. But our snow levels are not that deep. It's just the extreme temperatures. This is where I'm coming to. I've got to do some more work to the hot tub cabin, and the forest we're going to is owned by the same man. And we cut his trees, and inside my jacket, where's my gloves? Right, let's actually put those on, because now it's getting really bad. And there's no prints here at all, other than Casper. There's been nothing. Sort of question about bears and elk and stuff. I've never seen a bear down here in the valley. and I've only ever seen one big bear. And you can see where that's cut. So around berry season, I've seen him twice. He's a big brown bear, and I've seen him up there twice. I haven't seen him this year because I haven't been down there this year much, but I've seen him twice there. But I've never seen anything closer, other than where we walked through about 3 years ago. I saw bear prints in the spring. But so this area here, this was all cleared some years ago, and you can see this area up here is well growth. Well, I planted, well, there's more now, but there was about 100 trees that I replanted down here in honour of my first wife. She died last year, and she told our daughter she wants to come back as a tree. And families, there's all these arguments between our siblings about who's doing what, where, and nuts to all that. So I planted her 100 trees out here. She can pick one, can't she? So up here is where we get the Christmas tree from, and through here, so here is where the Land Cruiser was parked in one of the pictures when we got her running. And my logging trail runs that way, and then this way, and we'll take a walk around this way. Hup, hup, come, come. Good boy, this way. We'll take a walk around this way and see if we can find a suitable tree. So this through here is the forest, which I'll take a number of trees. Now I've got some marked up from when I cut the snow's just not deep enough for snowshoes. So this is the area here where I put in 100 small ones. And I didn't buy them, I just dug them up, and they're taken. The moose will have the tops of a few, and then this is to be thinned, and this is where I'm cutting from. So all the trees that I used to build the hot tub building 2 or 3 years ago, they all come from here. And there should still be some trees that I've selected, tagged up with my tags to be cut. But look at that. So the reason I brought you out, and I'm talking all the way through this lovely scenery, it's unusual to see this like this time of year. It's usually a bit windy. Right, there's a tag, tree with a tag there. That one's earmarked to come down. There'll be a few more in there. That one left over from the last time. And we'll be in here with the snowmobile and the sleds and cut that out. I can see a few that are still tagged there from 2 years ago. They're the ones we'll take down. And then part of the thinning process, you see where the trees are too thin. And then it's a case, there's plastic up there. I can see it moving in the wind. Oh, what's that trail there? That's the mad dog. No, it's not plastic. It's just snow. So where they're too close, I'll have to thin this in a few years and keep it thinning. But I can take something out of the middle there for a tree, which confuses Casper no end. When you've got to put a tree inside the house, you don't understand. But you see these are too close. I'll pick a nice one, whip it out. We'll put that inside the house for him. Look at that. what he's hunting for. Arctic hare. Can you? What happens is as the snow builds up, the hare, they make nests around the bottom of the trees, and there's not enough snow yet, and they nest around the bottom of the tree, makes like a natural shelter, and then he'll be off hunting them. But it's so cold, all the small mammals, they've gone aground. They're not doing anything. And not quite sure where all the moose are, but there's no tracks up here. And the bears, they would have gone into early hibernation. It's too cold for them. You've got temperatures like this. So I got a lot of comments about the day out in the van. I appreciate all the comments, and I know one of those things, I don't normally use it in the winter. I've never used it in the winter before. I've certainly never driven it below 20 degrees. I had no idea that was going to be a result of that. So I know about cardboard and wire and blocking all these things off, and I've lived here for some time in the Arctic, not just in cold places. So thank you, but I understand, I know, but what's interesting about that is, oh, here we go, a track that Casper is on. Where's Ellie? Where's Ellie? There's been a moose through here. We don't want to be upsetting it. Leave it alone to do its thing. It's too early. And me personally, I have no desire to kill any animals. People, if they come knocking in the middle of the night, big mistake. Animals, no. We share this land. Now, I say animals, that don't include fish. And then there's Sarah, if she got really hungry, well, you know, we'd have to. Nothing against hunting. I think it needs to be done. It's just not for me anymore. Don't need to do it. Yeah, still not deep enough for snowshoes. Anyway, we're at the bottom of the valley now. There's no tracks. There's nothing. Well, except the mess he's making. Just nothing. See, that's down. So when I normally run the trails, I always bring a chainsaw. That's a showstopper right there. Oh, it's only small. Handsaw would have done it. Just check my phone's still running. I thought it'd have been too cold to shut itself off. It's not like the battery goes flat, it just gets so cold it just shuts off. Put it inside, warms up again. Right. That's quite a hard trudge. Let's see if we can get to the edge there. I'll show you across what's left. Well, there's so this bit's clear. This was cut more recently. Normally I'd open this up. I don't need to open this up this year because the trees that I've got tagged, I don't need many. to do what I've got to do. There's one there tagged. And when I say tagged, I'll show you, in case you can't see it. It's one of my markers. But it's too small for what we need. And it's hard to tell whether I've marked it up because it's diseased at the top there. It's hard to tell with it covered in snow. But I can't see a reason why that's tagged unless I can see disease at the top. And we have a disease that turns them black and they start dying from the top, and it will spread. So I'll take them down whenever I can on land that I'm allowed to cut. So you can't just cut anywhere. Every tree is owned here. Every tree is owned. There's no public forest. All forest is owned. All forest is separated, and every single tree is owned. So what you can't do is just go and cut a tree because somebody owns that tree. And I've heard about arguments between people on boundaries and cutting trees. Right, termites. Those that you watch my previous videos, you know I've got a thing about termites. I accidentally destroyed half of this 2 winters ago. I had a huge log attached to one of the snowmobile, come round here and it pulled half of this out. Now I've rebuilt this so that they're in there. We're talking on tagged trees. There's a pine there, tagged, diseased, needs to come down so the disease doesn't spread to that one. So this one will come out this winter anyway. I can probably use that for tongue and groove board, and here we go. So this bit of forest I'm on now, it runs from the top of the valley, top of the hill, all the way through the valley to the bottom of the other side. And there's a river runs through the middle. So you can see, say that big one there, where the trees are changed. This was cleared. That's also within this plot. And then just over here, this ring of trees, well, it's all trees. There's a hole in there. I call it the glory hole because at the bottom of there, it's full of gold. The old boys tell me when this had cows on it, the cows used to go there to drink and not come back because they used to get stuck, and that was it, sink to the bottom. So, but there's no movement out here. There's no tracks. I know I'm making a bit of noise, but there's no tracks at all. Come on. Good boy. And for those that are avid watchers, you would have seen Casper change this last few months from the skinny little whippy dog that I normally have into this big fluffy bear. He doesn't lose his coat ever. He just grows longer and longer. And in the spring he'll get sheared, cut, trimmed. I turn him into a poodle, you know, as the old Mohican and the fluffy paws. And then I don't cut him again. So by the time we get into here, he has a full and long coat. I have to, when we get back, make sure I get everything out from between his paws, clean around his mouth sensitive areas so he don't get frostbite, but otherwise. Come on, hit it. What are you doing? Come on. Pulling the snow from out of his... He's caught a whiff of something, look. What's that? No, he hasn't. If you ask him what that is, when anything, he just bounces around aimlessly until he finds a track. Who's it? Ellie. Ellie. There's no any down there. There's nothing. And that goes to show how unseasonably cold so early on it's been, because certainly down here behind me it would be crisscrossed in tracks of every different sort. Birds, hare, moose, deer, reindeer, you would see them all. But there's nothing on the floor at all. And where it's been snowing finally, for those that don't know about tracking, you can see the impressions below the snow. And there's no impressions. There's nothing at all. Here we go, we're back in the bottom of the valley. So there's bear up here. We have Northern European brown bear. Not dangerous. I'm not armed. I have no way of defending myself against moose or bear. And other than the moose that worries me, and she just wants feed from the tops, I've never had any scary incidences whilst being here at all. It's not like in Maine where all the grizzlies, you know, they're just... Ah, no tracks, he said. Here we go. Deer. It's hard for me to show you with the gloves on, but deer have got like 2 C's in their print. It's been snowed on, so it's really hard to kind of show you. You can see the way it goes in first, and it was travelling from there in that direction. You can see a clear route through there. Anyway, how's my feet and hands? Well, my feet are alright because I'm walking. My middle fingers, they're numb, but that's probably through overuse. So, here we go. I just love the birch trees. I love all the trees, really. They're all equally as spectacular. Oh, come on. You can see where the branches are off here. When this is not loaded with snow, it doesn't hang so low. You can get the Land Cruiser with a trailer through here, no problem. But this part of the forest we're going through here, this is privately owned. I have no permissions on here other than I can cross through it. It's unmanaged. So, for those of you who know, I'm quite into carefully managing the forest and making sure its growth is healthy. This is completely unmanaged and uncut in any way, shape or form. It's totally unmanaged. It's not healthy. It's got many dead trees in there, widowmakers, there's plenty of those, and it's not been thinned for maybe 50, 60 years, and that leaves it pretty dense. As you'll see, the mixed growth birch up against fir, pine that are just dead, they just won't grow. It's not thinned and managed at all. And then as we come out of here, we'll come into, you can see the snow starting to fall. Ever such gentle breezes, there is some wind come. As we come out of here, you'll see where I've managed and the difference between unmanaged Nothing can grow big enough, nothing grows straight. And then we come into some young managed forest here, where I've cleared. The trees will be healthier. The young trees, they've got room to come up. The birch stands above and it drags the fir and the pine up with it. The big tree you see over in the back there, that's a boundary marker. And this was pretty unmanaged, pretty much unmanaged. And I'm working my way through it, but it takes a while. And it's not my land, so I don't get paid for thinning. But if there's useful timber in there, or I'm running through with a chainsaw and I see something dead or unhealthy, then I'll take it out. And then as we walk a bit further along, we'll come into what is fully managed, which is cash crop. This on the mountain up here, fully managed cash crop. And this is an example of a fully managed forest with its sole purpose to produce lumber. So this section here, looking at the growth on the trees, we're around 90 years. And it will probably be cropped around 120 years. Sometimes earlier, depends on the owner's requirements. So that is a fully managed forest. Unmanaged. Fully managed. I don't know if that means anything or not, really. And here we'll see yellow tags on the trees. Here, yellow tag. That's my gateway. And then you'll see yellow tags running all the way down. And that runs through that section of forest. And that's my logging trail. That's where I'll haul logs from this forest and all the way from the valley. So anywhere where I'm on my way back, our place is kind of round there and down the hill into the bottom of the next valley. But the yellow markers, they're my way of marking, so that when I first come to run, and sometimes the reason they're so high is because sometimes these will be just above the snow level, which will bring me to my next lot of videos once I get them edited. The low snow is ideal. I have a log trail through there. It looks like there's a tree down, so we'll have some work to do there. And this is another owner. I've taken some trees down there and I've got some still tagged to try and thin it, but I don't want to take any of his trees until he has a use for them, because otherwise they're going to sit in the yard. So, and I know he's got a project coming up, so the fact that I've tagged a number of trees ready to be felled will make the whole process easier. Why are we taking this little walk? Well, the cold has been so extreme, I've been stuck inside. That's made me a little short on material, if I'm honest. Also, Casper hasn't had proper exercise for a few days. He goes out whenever he needs to, but not up here, not a good run. And then you'll see the yellow tag on the tree there. This is the exit of my logging route. We'll come through there, or the entrance, and off down the hill to the yard. But the snowmobile track goes through. You'll see the tape on the line there. That's to stop you garrotting yourself. Normally this is all run in and hard and solid, but the snow won't compact that easily because it's too cold and too dry, and therefore it's as powdery and as soft as the day it fell, which is kind of, I know, strange, but sometimes you need the temperature to raise somewhere between -20 and -10 is good, and the snow will compact down, and then of course it will refreeze and you'll have a permanent trail. But this, it's been down 10 days now, and it's just as powdery as it was when it landed, just because of the cold. And there we go, now we're at the bottom of the hill in the next valley, and there's our shop and yard, and this is the bottom of where the snowmobile track will come out, and we'll be round the corner and straight to the sawmill. I've scraped the bucket down the road this morning to clear the road, and there we go. You'll all know that site. And then when we're logging, we'll bring everything in on the sleds, which are stood up over there, and the forklift will take them off, and then we'll stack them back. As you can see, we're already full along this edge. Normally throughout the winter we fill this edge up with raw lumber, with raw logs, and this year we're going to have a problem because we're already full, so we're going to be either encroaching back out or filling this area up here. What do you look like? Hey, frozen bear? Anyway, that's that interesting little walk. Thanks for joining me today.